Hi, I'm Tara Glastonbury from Naarm, Melbourne, Australia, where I live and work on Wurundjeri country. I'm talking to you today as part of the Quilt Alliance Go Tell It Sustainability Stories event for 2022. This quilt is an example of a modern wogger in a series that I'm making. Woggers are the only type of pieced fabric quilt that's endemic or local to Australia. Woggers fall into roughly three categories. The first were made from chaff bags and grain sacks and then covered with fabric. This is also likely where the wogger got its name. So the wogger flower lily sacks from the Murrumbidgee Co-op in Wagga, which also happens to be where I grew up, were prized for their fine cotton to be used in the stuffing of these quilts. The second type of wogger is the Depression era wogger, made during the 1930s and again during the housing shortage of the 1950s. These were typically made from worn clothing and other household linens and textiles, as well as tailors' suiting samples. The third type of wogger were cotton woggers made from salesman samples. So if you imagine salesman's swatch books, where the pieces were all the same size and then edged with pinking shears. My Medallion wogger is probably most typical of the Depression era woggers. It's made from vintage scrap, upcycled blankets and a shirt, remnant corduroy, as well as leftover scraps from quilting projects. As you can see, it's not quilted, and this is typical. So whether the quilt was 2 or 3 layers, it was only ever joined at the edges, most often with a border. I'm a bit loath to call this a modern wogger, as many of the woggers I've seen in museums or galleries over here, despite being more than 100 years old, are as modern as anything I've seen in quilt shows today. They were definitely, or many of them, were made with a real eye for design and are works of art in their own right. I wanted to thank Annette Giro for her extensive research into Australian woggers and for helping me out answering my questions over email these last couple of months. I also want to thank you for taking the time to listen in today, and I hope you learned something about the Australian wogger.